Eddie Huang's documentary Vice is Broke. Mubi controversy future plans. Powerful headline. A celebrated chef turned filmmaker believes his hard-hitting documentary has been muzzled by the same corporate forces it criticizes, sparking a debate about money, ethics, and artistic freedom. Chef, writer, and director Eddie Huang took to Instagram on Thursday with an eye-opening claim. He says the global streaming service Mubi has quietly removed his documentary, Vice is Broke, from its release calendar. According to Huang, Mubi president Jason Rappel personally phoned him to explain that the company had halted all marketing, shelved the project, and would only let the filmmakers buy it back if they wanted an audience to see it at all. Huang interprets the call as punitive, an attempt to make an example of him after he publicly objected to Mubi's recent investment from Sequoia Capital, a venture capital giant linked to Israel's defense technology sector. But here's where it gets controversial. Mubi flatly denies that the film is dead on arrival. In an official statement, the company insists, Mubi has not shelved Vice is Broke. We are in constructive discussions with the filmmaker and producers about the film's release on Mubi, and will share further updates as those conversations progress. In other words, the streamer says negotiations, not censorship, are the reason for the delay. Why did Sequoia's involvement light such a fire? Sequoia Capital, the legendary Silicon Valley VC firm behind companies like Apple and Airbnb, poured roughly $100 million into Mubi earlier this year. That same Sequoia also backs Keller, an Israeli intelligence tech startup that provides software and data solutions to defense forces. For many filmmakers and artists, accepting money connected to military technology, especially given the current geopolitical climate, crosses a moral red line. More than a few directors have already drafted and signed an open letter urging Mubi to cut financial ties with Sequoia altogether. Huang, best known for Viceland's Huang's World, the 2021 feature Boogie, and the memoir-turned-ABC sitcom Fresh Off the Boat, says he refused to participate in Mubi's promotional campaign precisely because of those ethical concerns. He points out an uncomfortable irony. His documentary examines how corporate agendas drowned out creativity and ultimately toppled Vice Media in 2023. We made this film as a cautionary tale, he explains. So why would a company buy a movie with that message and then do the opposite? And this is the part most people miss. Vice is Broke was never meant to be a niche festival piece. Mubi had originally acquired distribution rights across North America, Latin America, and several European territories, with an official launch date of August 29th. The movie, produced by QC Entertainment, the same team behind Jordan Peele's Get Out, debuted at the 2024 Toronto International Film Festival to solid buzz. Faced with the possibility that his documentary might not see daylight, Huang is already mapping out Plan B. In his Instagram video, he floats crowdfunding as a way to buy back the rights and release the film for free, potentially partnering with activist collectives such as Artists Against Apartheid. He frames the showdown as part of a larger battle over whether money should dictate which stories the public gets to hear. Potential flashpoint. Are venture-backed platforms obligated to screen films that challenge their investors? Or does taking investment capital inherently grant those investors veto power? The answer isn't simple, yet the stakes for independent voices are enormous. Thought-provoking questions for you. Does a streaming service have the moral responsibility to reject funding it deems unethical, even if that jeopardizes its ability to finance ambitious films? Conversely, should filmmakers walk away from distribution deals whenever investor politics clash with their own ethics, knowing that smaller audiences might result? Most importantly, do you believe Mubi is protecting dialogue by negotiating behind the scenes, or suppressing it by stalling the release? Share your agreement, disagreement, or entirely different angle in the comments. The conversation is only just beginning. Eddie Huang's documentary, Vice is Broke, Shelved by Mubi amid controversy. Controversy erupts. Eddie Huang accuses Mubi of shelving documentary after exposing investor ties. Hollywood writer takes on streamer giant. But here's where it gets explosive. Chef filmmaker Eddie Huang claims his documentary, Vice is Broke, was abruptly shelved by Mubi after he called out the streamer's controversial $100 million investor. But Mubi says Huang is misunderstanding. Let's break down this creative clash. What happened? Huang took to Instagram on July 31st to allege Mubi's president phoned him to say the film was being shelved, promotions halted, and payments frozen. The trigger? Huang's public criticism of Mubi's partnership with Sequoia Capital, a private equity firm invested in Israeli military tech firms like Keller. Huang had been vocal about the optics of an anti-private equity documentary distributed by a company backed by private equity. Mubi denies shelving, but Mubi pushed back, telling IndieWire they're still in talks with Huang about the film's release. A source close to the situation clarified that shelving was never on the table. The real story, it seems, is a battle over creative control and ethical accountability. Why this matters? A clash of art and equity. Huang's outrage centers on Sequoia's ties to Israeli defense tech startups. Sean Maguire, a Sequoia partner, has faced heat for recent Islamophobic remarks, adding fuel to the fire. Huang argued that Mubi's association with such investors undermines the documentary's critique of Wall Street's influence in media. The twist: private equity's tangled web. Huang claimed he'd never expected Mubi, a once independent distributor, to be consumed by private equity even before their film premiered. His frustration highlights a broader issue: how venture capital reshapes art. By taking Sequoia's money, did Mubi trade creative freedom for funding? Controversial take. But here's where it gets murky. Is Mubi truly shelving the film? Or is this a communication breakdown? Huang's version paints a picture of retaliation, while Mubi insists it's business as usual. The real debate: should artists vet their distributors' investors, or is that unrealistic in modern media? Key quotes: we have to start saying no to partnerships that compromise our work. Mubi: discussions are ongoing, updates to follow. The bigger picture: multiplex's situation isn't isolated. As streamers rely on venture capital, creators face tough choices. Work with platforms tied to controversial investors, or risk obscurity. Huang's stance, principles over distribution, poses uncomfortable questions for all artists. Should ethical concerns outweigh exposure? Your turn. Should platforms like Mubi be held accountable for their investors' actions? Or is art purely about the final product? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear your take. UXMM memory warning. HTML. Subscribe. MOOC timing. MOOC read string. Emplarary ending. WISTMMERCAWT_4 vertical. Eddie Huang's documentary, Vice is Broke, shelved by Mubi, controversy explained. This controversy has sparked a fierce debate over free speech, corporate ethics, and the power of film distributors. At the heart of it lies a clash between artist integrity and business decisions, two forces that often collide in the world of cinema. But here's where it gets controversial. A filmmaker's protest against a company's financial ties to a defense-related firm led to the shelving of his documentary. And this is the part most people miss: the broader implications of how cultural institutions choose to align with powerful investors. Eddie Huang, the filmmaker behind Vice is Broke, recently revealed that his project has been put on hold by Mubi, the streaming platform that distributes it. In a post shared on Instagram, Huang said he was told the company had stopped promoting the film and would no longer be released. He explained that the decision came after he publicly supported an open letter from Mubi-affiliated filmmakers urging the company to reconsider its $100 million investment from Sequoia Capital, a firm with deep connections to an Israeli defense tech startup called Keller. Huang's stance drew immediate backlash. He argued that the film's producers and himself were essentially being punished for speaking out against a partnership that some see as morally ambiguous. "I know I did the right thing," he said, adding, "Sometimes in life, you just gotta say no." Yet the situation raises bigger questions. Should artists be held accountable for the financial backers of their projects? And does the pursuit of profit ever overshadow artistic integrity? Mubi quickly denied the claims in a brief statement, insisting that the film is still in development and that discussions with the creators are ongoing. The company emphasized its commitment to independence, stating that Sequoia's investments do not reflect the views of Mubi. But critics argue that the mere existence of such ties creates a conflict of interest, especially when the investor is linked to a defense startup working on AI-driven military technology. This isn't the first time Mubi has faced scrutiny. Since May, the platform has been under fire for its partnership with Sequoia, which has invested in companies ranging from Apple to ByteDance. The controversy intensified when it was revealed that Keller, a startup founded by Israeli intelligence veterans in response to the 2023 Hamas attacks, is developing a battlefield system that integrates AI with commercial tech. To many, this makes the investment deeply troubling. The case of Vice's Broke highlights a larger tension. When does artistic expression become a political statement? And who gets to decide what's acceptable? As Huang's story shows, the line between creative freedom and corporate responsibility is often blurry. What do you think? Is it okay for filmmakers to challenge the financial backers of their work? Or should they remain silent to avoid conflict? Share your thoughts below, because this isn't just about one film, it's about the future of storytelling in a world where money and morality rarely align.